Bigfoot, Dogman, ambiguous cryptids shrouded in mystery. These shocking encounters caught on camera might be some of the best we've ever seen. A few have chilling backstories, and others remain a mystery. But one thing is for certain. With this collection of footage, we're closer to irrefutable proof than ever before. Welcome to Parks Unseen. I'm your host, Liam Wolf. Over the past few weeks, we've received an overwhelming number of emails from our monster myth community. Viewers like you, eager to talk about their own sightings, encounters, and mysterious trail cam photos. We look forward to sharing some of these chilling stories with you on an upcoming episode of Parks Unseen. Email monstermythtv@gmail.com to tell us about your experiences and send in your photos, or drop a comment below. Until then, we've compiled the freakiest footage of some seriously disturbing encounters. From the deep woods of Michigan to the swampy Florida Everglades, from Canada to Russia, all the way to the Australian Outback. Considering how many people have sighted cryptids around the world, it's hard to believe there are still skeptics out there. Maybe a few will change their minds after seeing this. Over the last decade, Russia has become a hotbed of activity. From snow-capped mountains to dense forests to remote suburban neighborhoods, reports of Yeti and Sasquatch sightings have flooded in from everywhere. This sighting made headlines across the globe. Whatever skepticism you feel at first glance quickly shatters when you see this thing jump. Comments poured in from around the world, reaffirming the consensus that this was something truly remarkable. Astounding, and yet not surprising. Just 6 months earlier, local emergency rescue services put this town on high alert after receiving an alarming number of calls from eyewitnesses about a huge, hairy creature tearing through the neighborhood. When a search and rescue team was dispatched, heavy footprints were found in the snow, impossibly large, at 19 inches long and 11 inches wide. Plaster casts were taken and sent to scientists for analysis who said, "We estimate that it would have taken about 440 pounds to press the snow down that much. It couldn't have come from a human foot." The casts were ultimately put on display in a local museum exhibit, among other pieces of evidence collected from Sasquatch and Yeti encounters throughout the years. The most notable inclusions came from a groundbreaking event in 2011, when scientists and Yeti enthusiasts from countries all over the world gathered together in Russia to share their findings at an international conference, followed by a 2-day mountain climbing and caving expedition. According to a statement from the Russian government, the expedition resulted in collecting irrefutable evidence of the Yeti's existence there, where several hairs, footprints, a presumed bed, and various other markers were discovered, ultimately concluding that the artifacts found give 95% evidence of the habitation of the snowman on Kemerovo region territory. Even public figures started getting involved. Former heavyweight boxing champion Nikolai Valuev has developed a keen interest in the Yeti's presence in Russia and was interviewed by National Geographic about one of the most viral sightings that year.
What does Nikolai think of it? This bit here, when we see the creature?
Ну, я сам сейчас немножко в шоке.
What do you think about this wave of sightings? In one of the largest countries, in the northernmost part of the world with so much unexplored territory, is it really that surprising? Should cryptozoologists be devoting more resources to exploring these remote regions of Siberia? I'd love to know your thoughts. Across the Arctic Ocean, on the other side of the planet,
he's fucking hauling it down that mountain.
Are we all seeing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a person, guys. But the way it's walking,
The way it's
like
walking
this.
like up. It's up. No way you could cover that ground.
Yeah,
if you
you're
were
just
a
going down the
person.
side of a glacier? No way, man.
After hiking to the top of Panorama Ridge near Black Tusk Mountain, this creature caught the attention of hikers from over 2 kilometers away. Based on its incredible speed as it moved across the rugged landscape and navigated down the glacier, this couldn't be a human being, could it? That followed on the heels of this sighting, similar in nature, in nearby Squamish, just a mountain range away. It was uploaded by one of the hikers, who hasn't posted anything else on YouTube before or since, and quickly garnered over 3 million views.
We're on top of Tricuni Peak, and pretty sure there's a Sasquatch down there. I can't really see it very well. There's this little black dot walking in the middle of the snow, in the middle of nowhere.
Look at how the he's walking.
It's huge. Just to give you an idea where we are right now. Middle of nowhere. Why would he walk up that way? If that was a human, why would he walk up that ridge or that snow line? Why would he not just go straight down? Dude, that's bizarre. He covered that ground pretty quick. Holy. And look him go up. I don't know how high we are, but we're probably close to 7,000 feet. 6,500 maybe. And this guy's just scampering up snow lines. Like it's no big deal. But I mean, he's hiking through snow like it's his job. And where the hell is he going? I mean, there's nowhere to go that way.
According to the hikers, who've stated they could see more clearly with binoculars than with the camera's zoom lens, the creature was clearly bipedal and appeared to be all one color. They insist it wasn't a bear or any other wild animal they've seen before. And most notably, they could see it wasn't wearing snowshoes or a backpack. The comments went absolutely wild, with many pointing out the shocking speed at which he traversed such a vast distance, especially through soft snow over rocky terrain, impossibly fast for a human without proper snow travel gear. Bigfoot doesn't just appear in remote, mountainous locations. There's even a subspecies of Sasquatch specific to the swampy marshlands of Florida. The skunk ape, named for his distinctly pungent odor, makes it into the top 10 most Googled cryptids list annually, and has become so popular that he had his own dedicated episode of Parks Unseen. But, as discussed in that video, in an area with so many escaped and abandoned primates, how can one tell the difference between a chimp and a squatch? I think this sighting might help answer the question. While canoeing in a swamp on the outskirts of Tampa, a young man named Matt caught this on camera. Notice the long, swinging arms and the way he moves through the dense swamp with ease, both of which are signature characteristics of the skunk ape. Matt originally thought it might have been a bear, until a park ranger told him that bears tend to steer clear of the swamp, and a person would have to be insane to don an ape suit in these alligator and snake-infested waters. What do you think? Far from Michigan's Upper Peninsula, where the legend was first born, a 7-foot-tall bipedal monstrosity with the head of a canine now has hundreds of recorded sightings across the continent, according to the North American Dogman Project. I'm sure by now you know the Dogman quite well, especially if you're a longtime monster myth fan. But nothing we've ever shown you comes close to this. This clip was stabilized and analyzed thanks to a YouTuber known as Bigfoot Tony. A few technical effects make it possible to notice things like the creature's size, movements, coloring, and facial features. So while the original clip was posted anonymously and the backstory is minimal, insight on the mysterious Dogman has grown exponentially in the cryptid community. In fact, when an Australian fisherman got the sense that something was stalking him through the outback on 2 separate occasions, he realized with horror that the creatures he used to joke about now had him in mortal danger. And thankfully, he grabbed his camera. John was fishing from his kayak when the first incident occurred.
I noticed that every time I took a stroke of my paddle with my kayak, whatever this thing was, it was actually taking a stride to each paddle I was taking, and I sort of stopped for a bit, and the sound stopped in the bush too, and I thought, that's a bit odd, and so I took off paddling again, and sure enough, as soon as I started to paddle, every stroke, this thing would take a step. So whatever it was following me. It wasn't just a coincidence or anything. It was more of a stalk. The creature, I've actually got it in the photo. Yeah, and I've spoke to a few people, and I reckon it's a Dogman. After that, couldn't go back to the area to check it out or anything by myself. I was petrified, for probably a month after it. I was waking up in the middle of the night, seeing the creature and stuff in my dreams.
Although he was petrified, John finally worked up the courage to return to the bush for another fishing trip. After a peaceful start to the day, he thought he was in the clear and began to relax and enjoy himself, when suddenly he heard a loud bang, followed by the sound of someone, or something, running.
As it was running, it was just smashing trees out of the way. I don't know if they were breaking or they were just hitting them. Where it was, you couldn't sort of see what the bush was like because it's so thick.
As John raced through the bush, trying to escape back to the safety of his car, he suddenly heard a piercing roar.
I'd never heard anything like it in my life, and it would roar, and then it'd take a breath in, but then the breath in it was taking, it was actually louder than the roar it was doing. This creature, it just went to another level, and it just went crazy, and I could hear in my head something was telling me, go now or you'll die. It wasn't my own voice, or it wasn't my consciousness, it was like it was something else. That 10 minutes was probably the longest in my whole life. I thought I was going to be killed. I had no weapon, didn't even have a fishing knife on me, had no phone service, nothing. I'd heard about it and thought it was a joke, and actually I've had encounters with it now, and it's terrifying. I wouldn't be putting myself out showing you these photos if it was a fake or I didn't know that it was actually something there. The main reason I come forward was I'm worried that someone's going to go missing or get hurt, and I'll have it in the back of my head, I should have told someone about that.
A pretty terrifying story, isn't it? Has anything like that ever happened to you? Sometimes a creature caught on camera is so bizarre it's hard to understand what you're even looking at. But apparently, long-buried cryptid encounters are coming to light all over the world, not just within the U.S. National Park Service. Running through the picturesque countryside of England's southern coast, amidst the haunted ruins of ancient civilizations, Wessex Way is particularly fabled for its frequent and severe traffic accidents. Could this provide one explanation? The enhanced footage shows such distinct detail of the creature's body, it's remarkable. But authorities were so worried about the creature itself, or perhaps a public outcry, that they concealed this footage for over a decade, ignoring eyewitness reports of other bizarre sightings, even though they had proof all along that something was threatening public safety. So, what is it? Some people are sure it's an apparition, picked up on CCTV but unseen by the drivers, who never even slow down. Others insist it's a real flesh and blood creature, albeit a strange one without precedent in the area. What's your opinion? And did the Dorset government have a responsibility to release this footage sooner and prevent a public safety hazard? Maybe they were onto something by keeping it under wraps. This security camera footage received the opposite treatment, and I'm not sure it was for the best.
Take a look look at this photo caught on their security cameras. It's a strange image taken outside of the zoo in the wee hours of the morning.
A bizarre figure is seen walking outside the Amarillo Zoo. Some suggested it could be the chupacabra, a mythical beast-like predator that's become a southwestern urban legend.
News stations across America covered the story. The strange hybrid of human and animal features generating more skepticism than genuine sleuthing. But the most interesting outcome was this candid and disturbing post on Reddit from someone who claimed to have insider knowledge. The anonymous zookeeper revealed that strange occurrences began at the zoo 2 months prior, with animals mysteriously dying. When illness and poisoning were all ruled out, security measures were heightened, including increased patrols and video surveillance. Despite these precautions, the incidents escalated, with animals continuing to suddenly die or disappear. The situation reached a climax when this cryptid was captured on CCTV exhibiting supernatural behavior. That video footage was ultimately destroyed. Law enforcement quietly attempted to apprehend the creature, but failed. Their weapons proved ineffective. Fear and uncertainty began to consume the zoo staff, who were forced to sign NDAs in order to keep their jobs. A few employees declined, citing anxiety and emotional stress. Some also threatened to go to the press. That's when the zoo's director provided a single still photo to the media in an effort to control the narrative, and the incident gained widespread attention. 2 years later, the creature still hasn't been identified. Although I love a good trail cam capture, drone footage is quickly becoming a new favorite. The clarity with which you can see through dense foliage and thermally track animals with infrared cameras. Gotta love technology, hey. And after seeing this creepy footage, I may never leave home without one again. Listen to this crazy story.
I went camping with some friends and we realized someone started following us. During the night, we felt like we were being watched and heard noises around us. The next day at the camp, we saw their tracks and noticed things were missing. We used the infrared camera to track the person and get our stuff back. The person stopped at this point. The drone's view changed to see the person, and this is what happened. Oh my god. This was the silhouette we followed in the mountain. It's clearly that of a person. And this one's from the deer. It's impossible that we confused the shapes. On the way back to the camp, we heard someone calling for help. And we followed the sound until we reached a very dense bush. With the thermal camera, we could clearly see a heat spot in the center, so we started cutting the bush with machetes. My body went through the hot spot and there was nothing and no one. How is that possible?
So what's the verdict? Could it have been a skinwalker, a wendigo, or another kind of shape-shifting cryptid known for preying on ill-prepared hikers? Or would you classify this encounter as the paranormal variety? I'd love to know what you think. And if you've seen any other mind-boggling drone camera captures, send them our way. Imagine an enormous bipedal triggering your trail cam and then racing to your backyard and seeing this? A pair of glowing eyes bobbing psychotically in the darkness, unbothered by flashlights, human voices, or the apoplectic dogs trying to warn against this unexpected intruder. When suddenly, another pair of eyes appears, the creatures seeming to multiply without ever revealing themselves. This sends a chill down my neck every time I watch it. What would you have done in this situation? A company called Outdoor Hub placed a hidden camera out in the wild to live stream a nest of baby eagles. This was the last thing they expected to see. A huge ape-like beast can be seen stomping through the woodland forest, striding at a pace no human could achieve. Before finally disappearing back into the undergrowth. In a remote area of Northern California, a federal task force set up hidden trail cameras in an effort to catch illegal marijuana growing and drug trafficking. What they caught instead is even more shocking. The creature appears to rummage around near the camera before moving on. But when the task force went back to this spot, the trail cam had been ripped off the tree and was found buried under a pile of newly fallen leaves. According to the game warden, this particular trail camera was 27 miles deep in the Sequoia National Forest, not accessible by vehicles, first by ATVs, then only by foot. He also insists this wasn't a bear, as the tracks they found didn't match that of any local bear species, or any species of wild animal he had ever seen before. As we head deeper into the heart of summer, the more excited I get, just thinking about all of the amazing new footage surely being captured at this very moment across the globe, between trail cameras, the National Park Service, or outdoor enthusiasts like you and me, perhaps toting the latest smartphone or night vision binoculars. Who among us will be the lucky ones? In the right place, at the right time. Armed with a camera, a clear head, and a steady hand.
I could see most of its body. It was huge. 7 or 8 feet tall, standing on 2 legs.
I heard this rustling sound, like big wings flapping. This thing was massive.
It actually looked like it was missing hair. It looked almost like it was more like just skin than anything, skinny and weird and a little misshapen.
I can't wait to see your footage and hear your stories. Until then, stay curious and keep your eyes open. In the wild, you never know what secrets may be lurking, waiting to be unveiled in the great expanse of parks unseen.